Welcome back everyone, Gaming for XP, and today we're going to do some building tips. Specifically, we're going to work with the pillar glitch, so let's get building. Here we are in Sanctuary, and I'm pretty naked diggy because I have no mods on, and I'm just showing you a number of things that I'm going to be using today. So we start off with the pillar. And essentially today I'm going to show you a whole lot of tips that I learned as I was building in Fallout very early on. If you've been playing and building for a while, you'll know most of these, so it's more for the people that are just starting out, or you may learn a few things, you may not. I know there's plenty of mod videos out there. So essentially with the pillar will sink into most surfaces, and I just want to show you. So these are a couple of junk fences here. I just want to show you by hand how close this will get. So I'm just positioning it, and you can see there's a fair gap in between those two walls. So the beauty of using the pillar is to get glitch things a lot closer than they can be in the game. So you'll see here, just positioning it, and you're basically what you're doing is you're moving that collision point essentially. Now, one of the things we use in the pillar, and a lot of these methods that I'm going to show you, we just have a look at the gap now, and you can see there's a even though there's still gap, it's significantly better. Significantly better. And then you can pretty much select all and move it around as you like. So essentially, a lot of these tricks that I'm going to show you today, a lot of it has to do with where you position the object you're using to move things around and position things. I could probably get that a little bit tighter if I positioned the pillar on, say, either the left or the right corner. Now, another way of doing it, and I haven't seen a lot of people do this, is use this longer concrete piece, and again, you're moving the collision point a little bit further back, and essentially it will help you to position things just a little bit more differently. So you'll see how much tighter this actually becomes. You just pull it into place, and essentially if you grab one of those legs either on the right or the left, it might do the same job as this. You have to find that point where it will go green for you. It might be yellow, some settlements are yellow, but have a look at the difference. There is no gap now. So it's just a case of finding the tool that will allow you to do that, and finding the collision point that will allow you to do that. How do I select all objects? See, I'm not too far, I'm a little bit further off the field here. You select A on Xbox, I'm not sure what that is. So it's your select button essentially. I don't know what that is on PlayStation. I'm sorry, but I'll try and find that and leave that in the description. But you can see that's nice and tight. And so if you're building walls or whatever, that could be a valuable, so defensive walls and stuff, that could be a valuable tool. Now, just going to show you something regarding how these work. So I'm going to pick this window up, probably the pillar first. There we go. So pick this window up, and we're going to raise it up. There we go. Now you can see it went red and then it goes green, and that essentially has to do with, as soon as it leaves the ground, it goes red. So that's an important thing for you to understand, that happens, because it will help you when you're building. Now, what I'm now going to do is I use these scaffolding pieces. Again, they're sinkable, so you can use them to grab stuff, and essentially you're selecting all when you're doing this. So if I get it as close as possible, select all. What I wanted to show you is the difference in height using the scaffolding. Now, essentially saying, well, there's no difference in height when I look at those two, and you're correct. Now you can actually pull those down, reselect them and push them up a little bit higher, but there is an easier way of doing it. So I'm going to position this. Now you see how I grabbed that and it went red? That means that you need to position this a little bit further down, and now when I grab it, it goes green. Okay. So essentially you could raise it up there, but if you use this in combination with the pillar, watch this, all the way up, and you're effectively raised the height of that window quite significantly. And again, this is another way of, if there's some stuff that you're building fairly high up and you need to reach that point, that's one way of doing it. So I'm going to move on to the roofs, because if we're in Sanctuary, and you've seen a lot of videos if you've been around for a while of how people put their roofs in Sanctuary build. So I'm going to do that. Let's get rid of that for a sec, and we'll show you how to do this. And it's pretty straightforward. The main thing is you build your roof or whatever you're doing on the ground, and that might take a bit figuring out, and essentially bring it across. Now if you're not using the pillar, obviously it's not going to sink in, it's not going to be the right height, and so this is why you would use something like the pillar. Use a wall to build, or essentially have something to the roof to snap onto. Grab the pillar, there we go, get it as close as possible. Now one of the things that you have to do with this, and you'll see me do it in a minute, is to try and grab the pillar as far away as possible, because you can't actually see what you're doing. Slide it in like that, positioning up, let it release, and there you go, you got your roof in. And just take the wall away, you don't need that. So that's the way to do the roof. Figure out how to build it on the ground, and then pillar gritch it in. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you one more thing with the roof. Okay, so I'm going to put the roof onto, and we might grab the scaffolding. I'm going to put the roof onto the junk fences. You would never see a roof on a junk fence, but we're going to do it, why not? So I'll show you initially. So we try and do it like that. It's not happening. You can see I just can't find that collision point to be able to put it in there. And sometimes when you're using these tools and glitching stuff, just moving the point of how you're using that particular thing can actually help you. So I see I've repositioned it on the corner. It's still not working. So you're looking for that point where it'll go green. So now what I do is I'll drop this down, lower it down, take the roof, take the wall away, grab the roof, because it may be how the wall was interacting. So the wall that was there was interacting with the fences. Reposition it, and you can see it went green. And so we'll just get it into position, go on green. Now it doesn't essentially look as though it's close, but look at that, it's touching. So again, build order is incredibly important when you're doing this. So here's the rug, and you would have heard about the rug. I must admit, I'm not the world's best rug glitcher. I didn't tend to use it, because every item in the game, you've got to find that point where the rug actually picks it up. So essentially what you'd use this for is getting objects close to other objects. And you can see there, now that just to prove that this is actually on the rug, there you go. And it just, now one of the problems is if you take the rug away, that happens, it drops down and it can sink into the floors. So just be aware of that. And I'll just move that forward, move it around a bit. Now, another way, if you're having a problem getting it close to the wall, here's another way of doing it. And you can use most of the rugs that are available. It's the big one I've just run past there. You can use that. I use that a lot, so I'll leave it in place. If you get USO, if you've got USO, you can get those rugs that are now transparent, so invisible. Now, when you're stacking the rugs, make sure you stack them properly. Just stack them like this. Grab this end one, and essentially you can move them around again. So it just gives you a little bit more length, and it actually moves the collision point again. So we might just stack this into here, just like that. And essentially what to do is glitch it through and then pull it back till it goes green. And you can see that's flush with the wall, absolutely flush. Now what we might do is we'll just grab the same item and we'll just try and physically put it in to show you the difference. So that's as close as I can get it without the rug, and I'm right up against the wall with the rug. I'd make a faux pas here and get rid of these rugs, and you can see that sinks in and it won't come back out. So just be aware that when you're using the rug, that may happen. Again, you can, what I advise you to do when you're building, try a number of these different techniques and different tools and mix and match them. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to show you how to glitch, how build order can affect how well you can glitch things in. So I've put a wall in. I'm going to grab this window, and we're going to put that window above that wall. So grab it. Now be careful with these windows because they can grab on the other side of the window, and then that'll change your collision. So I think that's what happens here, and I'll revise it in a minute. There we go. We can just pull it down into place, and there you go. You got the combination of the window. Now say, well, what's wrong with that? Now have a look on the side what it looks like. I'll show you in a sec. See how that's sticking out? We don't want that. So okay, we'll leave the window. So what I'd do in this situation is I would have put the window in first, then put the wall in. And again, this is this is what this is one of the learnings you have with Fallout and building. If you're not using mods and you're using a combination, learning what different materials work with what others is a absolute key. So no reason I've taken this piece of concrete other than just using a different tool. Get rid of that. Just be aware that if you have things that are too close when you select all, it might select other items you don't want. So just take them out of the way. And now I can sink this wall down. Now what I've done here, the mistake I've made here is that piece of concrete isn't low enough. Sorry, it's too low. So I'm going to just raise that up like that and reselect it. And now I can drop it down to the height I want. So just get it into place. Sometimes, unfortunately, Fallout has this weird perspective and you can't always judge how close you are. So what I essentially do is line it up in the red and then wait for it to go green. And once you're happy with it, release. And there you go, we're in. And let's just see how much better that is. See how tight that is. It isn't straight, so my OCD will kick in a second and I'll fix that. But it's an important thing because one of the ways to fix that is to then change your point where you grab the item so that you can get a different perspective and you can line it up a little bit straighter. And again, you'll learn all this as you go through and as you use these tricks and tools, how that works for you. Now sometimes it's a trade-off, and you'll see here although I get the wall nice and straight and tall, tight, I don't line it up quite right, but that's okay, that's fine. So just put it into place. There we go, snap. Again, we'll have a look. It is nice and tight. It's just offset a little bit. Now, one of the things I wanted to show you is you'll see the popular things that people use, but you can essentially use anything. These posts that sink into the ground, you can use those. There's a wooden post from the fences tab. So the wire fences tab, that one, you can use that one. That doesn't sink in, but you can use it to glitch. So I'm just to prove that point, I'm just going to use these steel posts. And I wanted to show you probably, just move that a bit, just how you can, if your creative brain works pretty well, you can just grab things that probably would normally not work together and you can combine them with glitching. So I've just grabbed a steel fence, concrete wall, and there you go. And you can see off to the left there also I've used a metal shack wall and put a fence on it. Again, another way of junking it up. So that's pretty much all I had to say for today. What I'm going to do is I'll give you some music. You can watch the rest of this build and you can see some of the struggles that happen, and essentially a whole range of different techniques in together. So thanks for watching, guys. As ever, thanks for your support, and we'll catch you later.